Okay guys, I'm excited. We're gonna go through a bunch of just the basic edits, what you absolutely need to know, and then later on we'll get into more nitty-gritty details. So here I've got the image. We have some heavy spots. We have some nice light behind. We're just gonna start at the same place no matter what is good or bad in the photo. We're gonna flatten out the image. So I've pulled up my shadows and pull down my highlights, and then I'm going over here to add back in the pop. So putting in this backwards C, I guess you could call it, and there we are. Let me zoom them in so you can see them a little better. Alright, so we went from this to that, and normally I just add a little bit of contrast. I used to do all my editing used to be just like, oh, let's just add some contrast like that, and that looks pretty good because it's a decent photo. But this is so much better because contrast, if you add too much contrast, it ends up being inky, and so it's so much better to do it down here because it's balanced and it's not inky. It's not taking both highlights and shadows and everything and just punching them up. It's being very detailed in what it's going after. All right, I'm gonna go back to the library. We're just gonna hit a bunch of different things. Let's see, we're going to grab this photo. All right, reset this. That's what it looks like. So we're just going to flatten the image. So we're giving ourselves some space to be able to put some pop in it. So we just made the picture look kind of blah, but that's what we need to do in order to add the crispies. Now I like the lights because you can literally see how it's adding crispies right into it, and then bringing down the darks. You can play with how much you want to go down, up and down with these, according to how it looks. But that is kind of the start. Now you can see it looks so much better already from where we started. Maybe you want to take that down. Now I can add maybe 14-15% contrast. Ooh, you can already see it. That added kind of a little bit of heaviness, which is not terrible, but you can see this picture actually isn't in focus. Oh well. But we can take care of some of that heaviness by pulling up these dark sliders. That's pretty much all you need for this photo. Now there's more things you could do, but I would say, look at that. Look at that, the difference. Alright, we're gonna find something else. Let's do this picture of heaven. Okay, reset. It's a great picture as far as like lighting and stuff. It was just in the shade, sunny day, so open shade is always nice, especially when there's, oh, let me not do that first. Okay, so we're just gonna open it up, flattening it, even though it looked pretty good already. All right, but we're going to add that crispiness back in, and then really bringing in that contrast with this lower slider. So you can see what that does. I think I like that. You can see where we came from. Really brightened up the image. Okay, let's see. Farm 2024, what do I have? Oh, here is an interesting situation. This is cloudy. Okay, and I have no idea which direction the sun was going or what was going on with that. You can see it's just really cloudy. Of course, you might even want to face the sun at that point, but yeah, okay. I'm just seeing a lot of darkness around my mom's eyes. I'm going to really flatten it out. And you can see all that heaviness went away, but also it's looking pretty flat. Okay, adding just a bit of contrast in, back in. Oh, I usually want to do that last, but technically it just, as long as it's around 14%. Sorry guys, you can hear the train. We live right by a train. Okay, so I cool it down just a tad, and Okay, not the greatest image, but that's somewhere where around where I would have to edit. Okay, I'm gonna show you this image. I did not send this to the client just because I think his pose is funny, but it's great lighting. So let's pull this one together. We're going to take down the highlights, bring up the shadows, bring up the blacks, and it's pretty flat. Okay, we're gonna add in the crispiness, bringing those highlights down, which there's a lot of highlights going over here. The sun is shining this way. Usually the sun for me is not like smack in the middle area. It's somewhere around here or around here. It is shining so perfectly. So that's why I wanted to use this one as an example, even though his pose is a little off. Okay. I'm gonna think somewhere around there. All right, and then we're gonna bring in some contrast. Okay, that is pretty close to where I want. Now with these blacks, I usually pull them down according to like the girl's hair color. Sometimes if I'm trying to go really light in area, I'll really pull them up, but she's got such beautiful hair, I'm just gonna give that her a little bit more, bring up that contrast, and then warming up the whole image. And I think that's pretty close. Now I might mess with some of these colors back there, or I might mess with, you know, taking down some of those highlights. You can see how I can go crazy with them here. I might pull those down, but they are perfectly, you know, pulled off the background. So you can mess around with the sea just as long as it's something like that. You can kind of get a feel of what you want within those bounds, and it works pretty well. All right, we are going to go to my Sunday. Let's do this photo. So it was evening, there was barely any sun, we were having some clouds. So the sun is coming again from this direction, not smack dab behind them, but it's behind them, it's just coming from the side, and you can see it lighting up the back sides of their heads. Now I'm gonna open it up and do that. Pretty flat. All right, we're gonna add the backwards C, which you can do other things too. Like if you wanted to do a different style, you could pull those blacks down. I tend to do kind of just depend on this light being up and then these darks coming down. All right, I'm liking this. I think we can add a contrast in. No, we don't want to just jump straight to contrast. The reason we went and did that down there is because contrast is not discriminating. It's like alarm. Okay. Contrast is like saying, what would contrast be like? Contrast just is like cranking up everything when, say you have a cake. Let's say you have a cake and there's frosting on your cake and then there's cake. And you decide, you know what, we need more frosting on this cake. And so you go to contrast and you just end up with more cake. You crank it up and you end up with more cake and more frosting. Versus down here, you decide, you know what, we need more frosting. And we just add more frosting. It's a little more discriminating. We don't just end up with more of everything. We end up with just the frosting. So we can add some more contrast in, but we don't want to add too much. There's actually some photographers that actually pull it down. So I found that interesting. Okay, so I'm finding it could be a little bit warmer if I wanted. And that is pretty much it. This is before. This is after. Okay, let's go to another. Right after them, I had this beautiful family. That was not my top favorite. Let's do this one here. Okay, I'm gonna create virtual copies so I don't have to re-edit that. All right, reset. Okay, that is where we're starting. We're gonna open it up. Okay, that's quite a bit flattened. Now I'm gonna pull highlights down. Okay, this is right after that other shoot, so there's like almost no sun now. It's behind a cloud and the mountain, so we're just kind of working in the dark with our ISO jacked up a little bit. But you can see when we add that backwards, see, look how good that looks. I feel like we could bring up the warmth a little bit, and then we can add in some contrast. You can see how contrast really affects their jean jacket, so we don't want to put too much, but somewhere around 15, 20. Look at the difference before and after. Pretty happy with that. Okay, these are crazy. Let's just do a virtual copy of this. This was the next shoot, and in Leavenworth, if it gets cloudy and the sun goes behind the mountains, you're sunk. So this is the original. I'm just flattening it out. Shadows, blacks are coming up, and highlights are going down. Now I'm doing it that backwards curve here, and that is getting pretty close. Now I could bring up these whites, and then it's evening, so sometimes I really need to crank up that warmth. And you can see there's some interesting blue and different things going on, which I took care of in these. You can see they're a lot more muted, also a little bit more richer with tones. But this is a really good basic first edit. This versus that's where we started. All right, we'll get into more nitty-gritties of different things later, but I just wanted to cover the main things first. Oh, these are interesting. I've never edited these before that I know of. Okay, of course I import with them edited. So let's reset that. We're gonna bring the sun once again is right here. I tend to have it always on the right side, so it's behind them, but it's not directly behind them. It's kind of to the side, kind of a happy place for it to be. All right, we got some highlight issues. We're just putting in that backwards curve. Look at that. Bringing that exposure down. Contrast up a little bit. Okay, let's see what it was before. That versus that. A little better. There's a few more things I probably would do. Let's go to this. Whoa, that's a lot of color. Let's see if we can help this photo out. So we're bringing up the blacks, the shadows, and bringing down those highlights. They're like this close to my lens in this photo, which that's what those wide angles are for, little kids who like to be right in your lens. All right, so now we've added some pop, and wow, are they ever orange. Let's try cooling it down. Also, I can take some of that magenta maybe down. If I take it too far, you can see how they turn green. I really hate when I miss the magenta thing. We have a photo hanging in my grandma's house where the kids are magenta. So you just want to figure out what looks normal. All right. Wow, this is just a very high contrast photo, so I'm not sure I'm going to even add contrast. Now, if you ever end up with a photo where their skin is really strong, there is one option down here, this orange thing, and you can pull it down a little bit and save the skin. Also, her skin is like a little bit reddish, so I can change it to the yellow side. You can see you can go towards green, so watch out. But here's without, and that's with. It kind of like fixes that skin problem. There's other ways. There's a color slider here, but that's just the general. Whew, okay, that was not a great one to show you, but okay, I guess that's all I have here besides these. Okay, let's see. Now that I showed you all of that, let me just quickly show you Hello. Okay, we are trying to not get that. We're going to find her. All right, so when I pull in files, I will go to my 2024 file, and then I'll go to my September file, and then I'll drop it, you know, in here. And then when I'm ready to edit something, I will take it and will drop it into narrative. I'll hit continue on free and next, and it wants you to categorize it, and they'll import it. And then you can go through here. This thing is a lifesaver. You can just go through and hit. You can rate them. So I don't love that. I love that. I don't love that. You can actually X them out, or you can just hit the number 1 through 5. If I'm really loving it, I'll hit a 5. Otherwise, I usually just go through here and be like, oh, I love this one, so rate it. And then when you're done, where did my rating things go? Oop. You can select this number 1 and ship, which I already shipped it. It's going into this catalog, which I created on my hard drive along with everything else. Oh, here's the filter. This lets me see, oh, I already hit number 1, so I can go back through and be like, why did I hit number 1 for this one? Let's get rid of that one. Actually, no, let's keep it. So it's really fast and efficient to use narrative. It will save you so much time, totally worth using it, because then you can ship to Lightroom. It will send it over here, and then you have all those folders here already sorted down. You don't have all the bad ones, so then you're able to just, which this one's full of bad ones, I didn't use narrative, but these ones, I had 600 photos, and look how many I have, 175. This is it, and I'm able to just go through and edit. So huge time saver to use narrative. And so yeah, I basically never do it without using narrative, and it's free. Let me just show you how to use this one more time. Escape. How do I get rid of it? Escape. Okay. Let's see. September 26th. Did I take any photos today? Oh yay! I took some photos. Not very many. All right. So I'm gonna take September 26th. I'm gonna continue on free. We're just gonna call it September 26th. All right, some awesome photos here. Okay, did I take any in focus? All right, we're gonna rate this as number 1. And since that filter is on, it only showed me that. Oh, this one too, I wanna get this. I thought it was funny. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ship and edit. I'm gonna select number 2. All right, so if I could pick from existing catalogs. It's not showing me a whole bunch of them. Right now, I'm just using the following. Trying to keep things all in one place after messing it up and bouncing between a bunch of different computers. This is a nice thing. I used to only be able to edit from one computer. Now that I have the catalog on a hard drive, I just carry the hard drive around and I can edit from wherever. All right, so we're adding. Now there's a bunch of import settings. I don't have duplicates. I have that checked, and then I just have a preset. So this is my edit where I open it up and I add that backward C and I have a little bit of contrast. That is already right there when I hit import, so you can see it's already edited. But we'll just reset and go ahead and do it. Whoa, I don't want my whites up. Alright, that's flattened out, and now we've got almost bedtime. Alright. And just add a little bit of contrast. And not the best photo in the world, but we're going to be somewhere around there. So flattened out the image, and then I put the backward C. This is in the house. Come on now. Alright. Let's see what we can do for a house image. Yeah. Alright, highlights down, lights up. Okay, you can kind of see how this slider brings in some contrast. So we don't really need to bring it in here. We can do a little if we're like really going for color. But that's pretty much it. Reset that versus that. Wow, those colors are really popping. And we can calm those colors down with still saving our edit, but we'll get to that another day. Anyways, hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, you can either leave a comment down below or text me. It's just so much fun to see how much of a big difference all these two things, opening it up and then adding that crispiness back in. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. So let me know how it goes and let's see if I can get out of here. All right.